Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Thursday night, September 19th, and we got a little bit to discuss. And yes, John Gruden made the list. Who'd have thought? So soon. It was just 2 years ago the last time we were having this conversation, but yeah. All right. Let's first off, you guys know what to do. If you're if you don't, well then you need to like, share, and subscribe. If you don't know what to do, that's what you need to do. For sure. Shout out to Discord. Patreon chat's been rocking. It's been going good. Enemy Insider page is up. Yes, my prediction is in there. Please don't read it aloud in chat. I do have my prediction. I'm excited to talk about this one because Arkansas and Auburn, man, a lot of implications in this bad boy. I mean, really, a lot on the line here. A lot on the line. And you could argue for both coaches, for both programs. Of course, you want to get started off right. But definitely Pitman has got to get this right. You got to get that dub Saturday. And I'm probably going to say it tomorrow a number of times. This is the Friday show, but it's on Thursday. I think from here on out, the goal is going to be to do these game before show or shows before games. We're going to do them on Thursday nights as opposed to Friday nights. It just gives them a little bit more time to cook in the oven, you know? So, all right. Whew. My last live stream I had, and I get probably one of these every once in a while. Well, someone will tell me what I should and shouldn't do on my live shows. I love those. You guys know I clap back always. I always have. It's in my DNA. I'm going to clap back. Just ask Arky56. He does the same thing. I get it from him. But I was pointing out in the last live show some of the struggles, you know, being a smaller independent channel and talking about how YouTube, I guess the person commenting was saying that I should be grateful that YouTube platforms me at all, something to that effect. I don't think he was being hateful. He did end the conversation. I didn't reply, but he did end the conversation with he enjoys the show and all that, and I do appreciate that. But I point some of this stuff out because there are so many people who don't understand the dynamics when it comes to the ads. Yes, I run a DSO ad because a local sponsor has paid for that, right? And that's what they get along with ad reads, yes. But there's a difference between an ad read in a 20, however many second long video and YouTube posting ads however often during a live show. There's a huge difference. So that's why I say, listen, because I used to get people complaining about those, you see. You get it? I used to get people complaining about those. So I said, all right, well, we'll stop them. As well as I can, we're gonna pause the ads. So once again, I went ahead and yeah, I brought that up because I thought that comment was it seemed like someone who I don't think he was trying to be hateful at all, but trying to tell me like what I should and shouldn't do. Come on, dude. I've been doing this for years. Adpocalypse was a thing. Adpocalypse 2 was a thing. It's hurt creators. It has. And that's, you know what? I'm going to point that out. You know, I don't have I don't have a built-in audience. I don't have that stuff. So I got to point this stuff out. And I do get people that ask me. I get other content creators quite a bit asking me about like how things, the inner workings with YouTube and what's up with ad revenue and why am I doing this and what's going on here. And I get viewers that do the same. Not often, not near as often, but I do. So I wanted to point that out. If you got a problem with it, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. But I'm not. But I appreciate the view, as always. All right, we're going to talk. You can see it on the screen. Gruden in Arkansas. Fayetteville High, a defensive back at Fayetteville High, committed to Arkansas today. I told you guys, when was that? a little while back he's someone to watch out for. Did not know he was going to commit. I had no idea he was committing. That came out of nowhere. I didn't know anything about that. I was saying watch out because I thought his offer list, and it had been rumored for a while that this kid's, well, you know what? We'll get into it in a minute. We'll get into it in just a minute. So, why is that so blurry? There we go. Now the background's showing up. I don't like that I'm covering up my Ram helmets up there. There we go. There's the Tusk Talk that you could barely see. I had that made in Branson. Pretty cool. It says Tusk Talk. You can't tell. It's not showing up on camera very well. All right. Let's start off with the Gruden talk. By the way, take the poll. We have the poll up. Hogs win tomorrow. Or see, I told you I was going to do that. Hogs win versus Auburn. 70% of you right now say yes, Arkansas is going to win. What up, John Haas? How you doing, man? Unbiased Brim, how's it going? Philip White says Lane to Florida and John G to Ole Miss. I do want to talk about that in just a second. All right, let's get into this Gruden stuff. Let's start there because this is relevant to Arkansas. It is. So we'll get into that. Pull up my right notes here. There was an article written by Brandon Marcello. That's who it was. Brandon Marcello wrote an article. CBS Sports had a conversation with Gruden. And if you don't know, for those of you who are kind of like, I forgot, what was his deal? What was going on with Gruden? You know who he is. The guy, Gruden, he's won a Super Bowl. He was one of the biggest, just in terms of like personalities, Gruden was one of the biggest coaching personalities. He had some success. I always look at him and I think like 2000s football from like 99 to 2012. That's like the guy when you think of coaches besides Bill Belichick, right? John Gruden is the guy that comes to mind. You could name off a whole. I mean, I know some of you, like you could go on and on. Andy Reid, Fisher, all those guys, but he comes to mind. Gruden resigned from the Raiders in 2021 amid his, and this is, by the way, from Brandon Marcello at CBS Sports, amid his fourth season with the Raiders after the Wall Street Journal and New York Times uncovered explosive emails dating back to his time as an ESPN analyst between 2011 and 2018. Gruden's emails were among more than 650,000 reviewed by the NFL as it investigated workplace misconduct within Washington's NFL franchise. In the emails, Gruden would say some bad stuff, some gnarly stuff. You know, it's not PC what he said. He was also asked if he would apologize for it, and more or less his response, because this was just recently, right, that he talked, and he more or less was like, "We're gonna let it play out." You know what? I don't know exactly what was said in the emails. I hope it wasn't too heinous. I don't know. You know how I feel. I think some people are really, really soft, and we live in a PC culture. You know, we do, and I don't know. I would like to kind of know but I really don't care, I guess, what he said in those emails. I really don't care. He probably said some stuff 20 years ago would have just been like a wag of the finger by ESPN or by, the NFL. So anyways, he also made a comment about Roger Goodell pressuring the Rams to draft Michael Sam, who was an openly gay player back in 2014. I knew when they drafted him, Michael Sam sucked. Come at me. Come cancel me, somebody. Like, he sucked. I knew then he sucked. He wasn't a good player. I'm not saying that's why they drafted him. I just knew, like, why are we drafting this guy? And you kind of made the connection where he played college ball and, where the Rams were located at the time. That's really all that I thought. But, again, he thought that Roger Goodell pressured the Rams into making that draft pick. I don't know. I have no idea if there's anything to that. So they asked him about what's your, just his interest. He says, yeah, I'm interested in coaching. My dad was a college coach. I was a coach at Pitt. I think he was a wide receiver coach, right? Back in 91, if I remember, if I read that right the other day. My wife was a cheerleader at Tennessee. Tennessee fans will tell you all about that. Hell yeah, I'm interested in coaching. I know I can help a team. I know I can help young players get better. And I know I can hire a good staff. And that's the only thing I can guarantee. But yeah, I'm very interested in coaching at any level, period. CBS Sports spoke with several athletic directors and coaching agents to gauge whether Gruden could get an opportunity to be a college coach. Some ADs hesitated to say whether they would interview him, but all agreed Gruden would likely receive interest from some schools. Now I guess this is a random an athletic director who didn't want to be named, but he says, if I was in the market right now, would I interview John Gruden? Yeah, probably. An athletic director at the Group of 5 level admitted under the condition of anonymity. I can't say that damn word. Anonymity. There it is. Anonymity. Good God. It's where, again, you guys know when you haven't said something in a long time and you're in front of a camera and you're like, shit, how do I say that? There'd be no reason not to. Now, if I was at Florida, no, I'm not doing that. It's not the right fit, the right time. A lot of that depends on the right job. One of the things with a Group of 5 school is you could make you could take a more calculated risk. So we know, and why does this tie into Arkansas just a little bit? Well, let me play you the little video here. You guys might remember a couple of years ago, he spoke at the Little Rock Touchdown Club.
Did you ever consider going to Arkansas? That's a tough question when I just start the day off. I wouldn't say they were real serious conversations. I had just taken a job at ESPN broadcasting, so they weren't real serious, but I think they were just searching for the right guy, and we did have a couple preliminary conversations because of John Daly, that's for sure. I was concerned about being a college coach because I would have you on the death penalty probation within 6 months. But now that you're paying players, and I know a bank with $27 billion, I'd love to have the Arkansas job. I'll tell you that.
I swear I had that intro off. I had my mic turned down, the intro off, and I did the opposite. That's when he spoke to the Little Rock Touchdown Club. I think that was 2 years ago. I had that video. I had to download that video off Twitter. Don't know. I think it was Steve Sullivan who tweeted that video. So, shout out to Steve Sullivan. I think that's where that video came from. I'm not really sure, but I was able to record it. Let's see. Let me read here. Ty talking like Nemo, trying to say, thank you for pointing that out. Call John up right after this game, says you can't handle the truth. I feel like that's Arkansas's better than you think, isn't it? Isn't that you? Is that you? At least two scored. Nope. That's not what we're looking at. Gruden spoke. I didn't know this. Gruden spoke about the NFLPA president, Maurice Smith, about his big lips. Dude. Yeah, I mean, that's, again, slap on the wrist. Shouldn't say that. But, I don't know. It did kind of feel targeted when they went after Gruden. But I don't know. Maybe he's had some more stuff. I don't know. But I think that there are a lot of people who would take John Gruden in a heartbeat. And there is such a thing as locker room talk and all that. Again, I'm not condoning nor am I condemning, but Carlos Wolfolk, I'll take Gruden, hell yeah. Listen, here's the thing. Number one, he's got entirely too much baggage. I just don't know. If let's say, and again, I still think the number is 5. I think most of you think the number is 5. If Sam doesn't get to at least a bowl game, maybe it should be more. Maybe the line in the sand should be 6. But it's 5. it just is what it is. But if you fire Sam and you whiff on some targets, you whiff on a few targets, and all of a sudden, to fans, John Gruden starts to look really nice. He is known as an offensive guy. He's known as an X's and O's guy. Pays attention to detail. I remember, seems like every time we've had a coaching search, Gruden's name has always come up, whether, when he was with ESPN or whatever, which he was there for a minute. It seems like he was there for a long time, but he's just got too much baggage. And I don't think it would ever happen. Because, number one, if they did walk away from Sam, and I don't know, again, what his buyout structure looks like, but I assume it drops in December like everybody else's. Can you afford to wait that long anymore, especially with early signing period when it is and the portal and all that? I don't know. A lot of teams, it's going to become normal that you start to see a lot of coaches. You're seeing it more and more often now. Coaches are going to be fired in November if it already seems like that's going to be the case anyways in December. So – but I kind of agree. I don't think he ends up at a P3 school. There's no power 5, there's no power 4, it's power 3. I think he would, the only way, I don't know, if he's got a connection somewhere, and of course the most talked about connection, of course, is Tennessee because his wife was a cheerleader there. They're obviously not going anywhere unless their guy gets plucked from a bigger and better gig, which there are several of which than Tennessee, but I that wouldn't happen. I don't see it as a possibility. Just too much baggage. Apparently said some gnarly stuff in some emails. Not condoning what he said, if whatever he said, but yeah, I just don't like the odds there. I don't think he would ever be a real candidate. Now, he was several years before. They did kind of reach out. They did kind of flirt around, they kind of just – I think they were gauging his interest. But that was then. This is now. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I think he ends up – it's not so much whether or not he's a valuable coaching candidate because, again, as far as offensive minds go, he has the reputation, right, of being a big-brained offensive mind guy, right? Like he could make average players do great things in the NFL. I mean, he had several in his offenses that were not very good once they left his team. Once they left his offense, they didn't put up the same kind of numbers. Pretty sure I drafted several of them in some fantasy drafts. By the way, I have not been paying attention to my draft, to my fantasy football team. I think I lost to Austin in week 1. I'm not really adjusting my lineup. And I feel like once I start off on a wrong foot, I don't care. But I should. I'm going to try and jump back into it. But Gruden always, he was known as a big-brained offensive guy. And I think, too, maybe if you broke down his numbers, I don't know, I can remember having a debate with someone a little while back that actually he was pretty average. His offenses were never really elite. They were just, serviceable at the NFL level. I don't know. I never paid that much attention. Again, we know he's got the hardware. We know that he you don't gain the reputation for no reason at all. But I think because it's a hot potato situation, I'd be shocked. Honestly, I would. Well, maybe not. We have seen some kind of, sleazy moves. And I don't want to say sleazy moves because I don't think it'd be sleazy to hire him, but we've seen some suspect hires over the last, 10, 15 years, especially. It's just a little bit harder because now times are different. We live in a PC culture, and I do think kids are soft. I love that we've had callers call in when we do those, and they're like, yeah, no, this generation, they're all soft. I'm glad that I think a lot of you would agree. They're soft. It's just different times. I guess I'm just OG. I don't know. I don't know. I think everyone should thicken their skin up just a little bit. But anyways, I don't see it happening. But maybe I'm wrong. But never say never, right? I don't know. We had a super chat. Let me pull it up. Woo Pig. Oh, okay. We've already got someone putting out the score here. Cal the Hogfather with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. Woo Pig, 34-24. Wow. He's got Arkansas winning by 10. He's got Arkansas winning by 10. Steven says this is the jellyfish jitter. I don't know, man. I guess I think most people probably in their mid-30s to on up. We're just different breed. Just got thicker skin, bro. I don't know. Dilfer probably be great. Yeah, we're gonna dive into a little bit. He said some stuff that was interesting, and I meant to pull and put it here, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So, all right. Hey, shout out to the sponsors. I moved the sponsors back for some of the people that are complaining about me starting off. I got to do the ad reads. All right? I know, Ty, that you can't please everybody. I know. Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They offer same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. I should know. They put in my sexy door. It's so sexy. I love my door. It's smooth. It works good. The pulley system's no longer loud. Listen, DSO, Direct Service Overhead, they killed it. So why not give them a call, 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Insurance Max, business, personal, life, and health insurance, retirement. They shop the best rates for you. Covering the entire state, corner to corner, county to county. From Pulaski to Washington County, they got your back. Down to the Delta, all the way up into the Northeast, to the River Valley, to Northwest Arkansas. I mean, they're both right there. They've got your back. Click the link down below, see what they can do for you. Again, that's Insurance Max. And Patreon, we have, so again, Enemy Insider, that Sunday, we were already breaking stuff down. I already had the side-by-side numbers and analytics and stats posted for you. I'm loving the reactions. You guys are digging it. I'm getting DMs. I'm getting you guys tagging me in Discord. You're loving it, and I'm so happy that you do. Remember, the only thing that will not be shown from PFF is their grading system. That is unique to PFF. You need to have a PFF account to have access to that stuff. We will, when we get into the transfer portal, you can. Everybody does it. You can type out their stuff, but you can't. You don't want to screen grab everything and put it out there. So we just kind of get into the deeper analytics. The stuff that's out there that's public, and of course the stats are pulled from usually ESPN. Sometimes it's other places. And then at the very bottom, I give you my take, and I had that wrapped up by Wednesday. My goal is usually to try to have it done by Tuesday, but it's easier said than done. So, yeah, shout out to Patreon supporters. 110 members. We've been sitting at 110 for months. We can up those numbers. They're not rookie numbers. They're pretty damn good. We can up those numbers. So please consider Patreon. Tusk Talk with Ty Patreon. We've got our cards picked out. I got a video uploaded today. Today. I did it today. Talking about the cards, and also for the Patreon people who don't come to Discord, who only go to the Patreon site where there's not much posted there. Remember, we do everything in Discord. I posted you a little, a peek about what we're doing in Discord. All right. Oh, boy. Auburn. Are we on to Auburn? No, we didn't cover. We got to cover the recruit, the commit. That's right. That's where we're at. Arkansas picks up FHS defensive back commit, Fayetteville High. I went there. I'm sure you guys are all very well aware of that. 6'1", rumored to be actually closer to 6'2", 190, 195 pounds. They've got him listed at 6'1", 185. Defensive back Kendrick Williams committed to Arkansas earlier today. Physical, can be physical, lengthy. not much out there on this guy. He is unranked. He's rumored, now I think he even has it in his Twitter bio too, by the way. He's rumored to be a legit mid 4.4 40. We'll need to camp. You know, anytime you have an unranked, especially, I get it, an Arkansas kid who's unranked, Arkansas does not spit out talent left and right. They just don't, although I would say there are plenty of overlooked kids in this state. And you know, because you'll hear their name, you know, playing for some other school. Turns out the kid's kind of a baller, right? And it's not as if Fayetteville High hasn't produced some pretty good players. You can talk about the Allen brothers, Dre Greenlaw, Cheyenne O'Grady, who unfortunately kind of, you know, ran into some issues here, but was a good player, was a damn good player. Maybe as far as a pass-catching tight end, I've got him up there as one of the best, at least in the two, probably in the 2010s, for sure in the 2010s. Very wide catch radius. Pretty athletic for a guy. Could move really well. You've had some offensive linemen. I already mentioned Drake Greenlaw, Brooks Ellis. I mean, you've had some Fayetteville kids. And by the way, they weren't ranked in the cycle before. That's pretty common. That's actually really common in states like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi. Doesn't mean he's going to stay unranked forever. I do believe he's going to – here's what I do know. Had a short conversation with one person who said even if he doesn't camp, based on this season alone, he will rack up offers. Expect it. Now, he's got to go to camp. He's going to have to show off that athleticism. What I know or what I've heard about him, I really want to watch him play. Now, tomorrow night, Fayetteville High actually is hosting Texas High, who's 3-0, who has a 3-year starter at quarterback, David Potter, who I believe is going to end up committing. I know he's got an offer. Pretty sure he has an offer to SMU. I don't know if there's any other schools looking at him. I'm hoping to, get a little bit of research. I kind of like to know who the guys are when they're coming in, especially from a school like Texas High. You want to give as much information as you could get, just so you have an idea of what you're watching. Fayetteville, who's 2-0, taking on Texas High, again, who's 3-0. David Potter, again, is their quarterback. He's a 3-year starter. They've got some playmakers. They've got a big-time running back. Got a couple of running backs. They got some kids that are committed to some big schools by the looks of it. Of course, Fayetteville has Odom, who's committed to UNLV, and now you have this Arkansas commit who's going to be playing. So that'll be a big one. I plan on going to this tomorrow night. I want to go. This will be a good game. Watch two high-quality teams play. Texas High is going to have we know they're going to have more talent for sure. Fayetteville's probably, I don't think they're going to be picked to win this one, but I'd like to watch them play. I could be wrong, man. I don't really keep up with high school football. That's what Arkansas Sports Network's for, baby. Shout out to ASN. We're streaming over there. Shout out to ASN. If you guys are watching over there, make sure you like and share this live stream. But yeah, I think Texas High is loaded down with some talent. So Fayetteville's got some pieces too. Be a good game. But from what I understand, if this kid who committed today, Kendrick Williams, if he maybe camps or has a good enough showing, and this would be one of those games, right? People are going to be paying attention to this game in Fayetteville. What a game. If you want to kind of bolster your positioning a little bit, this would be the game to do it. So looking at this 2026 class, that is now, their sixth commit. This is 2026 recruiting class. They are currently ranked, take it with a grain of salt, currently ranked 11th in the country. You know that this will move around. More than likely will drop. I mean, of course, right? Tay Lockett is they're probably their biggest commit between him and Colton Yarbrough. Colton Yarbrough is a hell of a get. The defensive end out of Durant, Oklahoma, that is a hell of a get. I don't think we actually covered his commitment, which is a rare miss by me. I usually cover every commit. But he committed back on the maybe we did. Maybe we did because he was early August. For some reason, I was thinking he was late August. I don't know why. But Colton Yarbrough is a big get out of Durant, Oklahoma. You've only got, in this class so far, you got 2 Arkansas kids. Tucker Young, offensive lineman out of Hot Springs. Shout out to Hot Springs. And, of course, Williams out of our own backyard up here. Javion Gilmore's the 3-star, 6'5", 190-pound quarterback out of Gaffney, South Carolina, who committed back on the 1st. We knew that they were going to build this 26 class quick. I had been told that months ago. Talked about it here. Talked about it in Patreon chat. It actually started in Patreon chat. We knew they're going to load up on this 2026 class, and so far it's off to a pretty good start, man. Tay Lockett and Colton Yarbrough are the big ones right now. Pay attention to Williams. I think he'll get a bump. Couldn't speak to Tucker Young. I don't know a whole lot about him other than, I mean, obviously he's at Hot Springs, but so yeah. They could, let's see, what are you guys talking about with NIL? They could even offer more. So, yeah, it's a good commit. Do expect more. Again, they're trying to fill this class out. I had no idea he was committing. I had no idea. That came out of nowhere. So, there you go. All right. Yeah, I don't know. This NIL drama that's playing out, and it's not a part. I wasn't going to make it a part of today's live, but it is fascinating. I saw everybody was clashing. Chuck Barrett, of course, wasn't. He's not on Twitter. But Bo Mattingly, Bart Pullman, the producer behind the Chuck and Bo show, feuding with the Bet Saracen guy. I know there's a lot of talk about what is legal and what's not legal. I'm going to be real. Courtney Mims, I think we're going to have to bring her back on to give us an update on this. She was busy this week. We're going to try and get her back on next week. If she's not busy, she just got a house. She just moved into a home. Or she bought a new home. But I'm going to try if she's available. We might try to get her on to get us another update on all this. But I think it feels like right now I guess they're waiting on the state. I don't know. It doesn't seem like everybody involved is very comfortable with getting all that stuff set up. So I did see where, was it Tennessee? It's going to put a talent tax on ticket pricing. A talent tax. Maybe that should have been today's poll. Maybe I should have brought that up. Would you be okay with a talent tax? You don't have a choice. And here's the thing. When you're winning and you're doing what Tennessee's doing right now, I do think they're going to hit a wall. I do. I like Tennessee a lot. I definitely don't see them going undefeated. They kind of have a reputation for starting off hot, and then they also they'll find a way to lose. Hell, it could be against Oklahoma on Saturday. But quite the reunion. But a talent tax. Maybe that should have been the poll. Would you be okay with a talent tax? But again, it's easier to ask your crowd. It's easier when you're selling out your big-ass stadium. What's that place hold? 108, 110,000 people? Good Lord. And you're putting butts in seats. It's a lot easier to do something like that. Ticket to a talent fee. Boy, I don't know. And I don't know that you want to even call it that. What? Couldn't you? I don't know. Maybe it's devious, but couldn't you have just done it without saying anything at all? Oh yeah, we just had to raise the pricing of the tickets. I guess they want it to be known publicly that they are supporting their players. Either way, I think it's a good move when you're winning. When your program right now, where Arkansas's at, you're coming off not very many wins the last 2 years. You just struggled against UAB. You found a way to lose against Oklahoma State. And if you were to come out tomorrow and say, we're going to put a talent tax on your tickets and on your concession stands and everything, bro, you're going to have a heart. Listen, that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough. Hard to call it a talent tax when there's a lack of talent on the field. Might as well call it yeah. Well, in their case, Tennessee can call it a talent tax. They can call it whatever they want. They're doing pretty well. Megan says you won't get many wins without more money, unfortunately. Ty, did you see the interview with Joe and Jarius? Thoughts if you did? Yes, I did. Now, again, something else I didn't put on our bulletin board of things to talk about, but so the way, and again, I was literally filling out notes. I should probably, when I'm listening to something for information, I'm driving in my car or I'm sitting here and I need to focus because I can't do notes and listen. I have to go back and re-listen. And I didn't do that with this interview, but I did hear them talk about it. It sounds like it was not planned. Joe Adams and Jarius Wright, this is not some form of entitlement. And I never got that vibe to begin with. Listen, the university, and they're not alone in this, but the university is very, like, you feel like they have, I don't want to say security, but it just seems like they're a lot more strict about who goes where and how they, it's just a little bit more strict. And I could speak to that because I've been in the media room, right? I've been to practices that's very, of course, it's all very coordinated, and that's their job. That's the SID's job. That's what they're supposed to do. They're having a team thing, and Joe and Jarius, I guess, were told by I don't know if it was, I don't think the SID got involved. I think just the security guy was like, you can't come in. I don't think it was that big a deal. However, you consider what they were doing that weekend and kind of celebrating, past players, the university was. I think, and again, this was something that I got out of it. Had it been a little bit better coordinated by Jarius Wright and Joe Adams, like, hey, call up the U of A. Listen, you guys are responsible. And I agree with DJ Williams. Like, you guys are responsible for, the ticket sales and the stadium renovations and all the things. They're a big part of that. That 2010, 2011, those players, that team, of course, Bobby Petrino's the coach. They're responsible for the lifting up of the football program, right? They're responsible for that. You feel like maybe they should get a little special treatment. Not walking in when they're doing a team meeting or whatever, their post-game thing where the coach is talking to the players. Of course not. Of course you don't, you got to wait your turn. I think it should have been better coordinated. I think the U of A probably should have reached out to begin with, considering you're already kind of celebrating. You're celebrating Matt Jones and some other players that weekend, not just the football program, but the university. Probably could have coordinated something, right? Like, oh, by the way, let's not forget these guys. Ryan Mallett's former teammates. How cool would that have been? And I'm sure they'll plan something out. More than likely, it's just maybe a little bit poorly executed by Joe Adams and Jarius Wright. If they wanted to go talk to their former coach, should have planned it out, but they didn't. That wasn't their plan. They went to the game. I think Jarius Wright said he's a season ticket holder. Jarius Wright is a season ticket holder. Those guys, you want to talk about being frustrated with what's going on. I bet they could. No, I didn't get to finish the whole interview, but I bet they could. They would love to vent some of their frustration about what they're seeing, but how thrilled they are to see Bobby Petrino calling the plays, especially with Petrino back this year. You think they would probably orchestrate something, and I bet they will. And I bet DJ Williams is involved too. Here's Mr. T-Dub with the Super Chat. Appreciate the Super Chats, guys. I love that you can respond to Super Chats now. That's really cool. Well, Hunter Yurchek said at the Little Rock Touchdown Club was one of the most insulting things a U of A rep has publicly said. Quote, unquote, it's not Sam's fault. Shows football is doomed with Hunter Yurchek at the helm. Appreciate the Super Chat. You're not the only one that thinks that. I was on the phone with somebody about that didn't think that it was necessarily a great look for Hunter. Again, like I said, should he have put it the way that he did? I don't know. Maybe not. There's probably no one feeling the pressure more with all this than Hunter Yurachek. Yeah, I don't have the transcript of what he said. We played it on the what was that, Monday? We played that on the show. And we talked about it then. Yeah. All right. On to Arkansas and Auburn. Did you guys know Ole Miss, number 2 in the country in SEC explosive offensive plays of 20-plus yards? That's a national ranking. Again, they're number 2. Arkansas is in a 3-way tie, and we already mentioned one of these schools. They're in a 3-way tie at number 5. Auburn and Tennessee are the other 2. Oh, well, in Texas. No. Texas is 10. My bad. Texas has the number 10 offense. Again, I wouldn't overreact to those numbers too much. I wouldn't, let's not build Bobby Petrino a shrine just yet. We don't know how good or bad Oklahoma State is on defense. Remember, they're a Big 12 defense, not outside of maybe a couple of players. They're not built from head to toe on defense with a lot of talent. It's a typical Big 12 defense. I still think they look to me like an 8-4, maybe a 9-3 Big 12 team, which is probably good enough for 6 wins in the SEC. All due respect, I mean, Oklahoma State fans have been nothing. Honestly, they've been, when you watch social media meltdowns and how fans kind of bicker with one another, of course Oklahoma State has their extremists, right? Arkansas doesn't have that many, right? No, surely not. Absolutely not. Oklahoma State had theirs, but for the most part, and even the fans that come through here and interact, had a lot of really nice things, said in our postgame show after the fact. Had some Oklahoma State fans, say they enjoyed the show or whatever, or thought it was a good game, and so yeah. But hate to say it, I don't think you damn sure know that running back, Ollie Gordon, would not be a Heisman candidate. We know that much now, right? I was right. Ty called that a long time ago. Here we are. I'm sure he'll pick things up once the season goes on. However, keeping with this, the SEC is loaded in offense, man. When you talk about just the offensive explosion, the 20-plus yard plays, there are 6 teams ranked inside the top 20. And then you go to Georgia at 31st. Of course, they had that rough game with Kentucky. LSU at 61st. Now, this isn't a great representation of actual offensive numbers, but just on these 20-plus yard plays. Mississippi State at 82. Oklahoma, surprisingly, at 115, and then Kentucky, not surprisingly, at 122. So Arkansas right now up near the top, and we know their offensive numbers in the league are really good. Who's playing in this game against Auburn? My God, how many defensive backs can you afford to lose? Jalen Braxton, Miguel Mitchell, Hudson Clark, all ruled out. All of them ruled out. Patrick Kuda still not playing. Paskey, whatever that tight end's. He's not playing. Kafri Brown is out. Desmond James is questionable. And then Nico Davier, Anton Jukic, Jaden Johnson, Jaquindon Jackson, and Addison Nichols all probable. It sounds like most of these guys, if not all of the probable guys, will probably play. But you're a little banged up, man. Jalen and Miguel and Hudson Clark, that's one of the things that stood out in the secondary. It seemed like, and this is something that I pay attention to in camp, going back to spring and fall camp. I can remember talking to Patreon supporters about this, and I'm pretty sure we talked about it here. One of the things that I appreciated about Hudson Clark, whether you think he sucks or whether you love him, right? Doesn't matter. One of the things that stood out for me about Hudson Clark, his ability to communicate to the secondary. He knew where the ball was at, he knew where the ball was going, and he could direct the secondary, and he would communicate with the linebackers and the sidelines. That's something that always stood out to me. And I think that's why he continued, despite the last couple of years, he's been trending down. Whether you want to look at the PFF grading, the grades, or the deeper analytics, and just watching him play, missing tackles, despite being a willing tackler, he was missing tackles, which was not the Hudson Clark that we saw back in 2021. He wasn't afraid to get his face mask in there and make a play. But he made them. That was the difference. The last couple of years, he's kind of trended down. But the thing that always stood out to me, and Jalen Catalon as well, their ability to communicate with the rest of the defense. The secondary last week, and I watched them. I mean, I'd go back and replay. They looked completely lost. And I wonder, without him, without Braxton, what is going to happen? Now that Auburn has this young quarterback they're going to play against Arkansas. He played last week, graded out really well, but you got to consider the opponent, right? New Mexico, by the way, the Lobos. The Lobos. This is problematic. I was hoping they'd get at least Hudson Clark back. Obviously, Braxton's the big loss here, but the guy that's known for communicating well, not being available, not playing. And again, this is according to, I don't know where this is coming from, actually. I just have it typed out. I forgot where I got that from. But I think this is right. Yeah, Jalen Braxton, Miguel Mitchell, and Hudson Clark all going to miss. Patrick Kuda's still not available. Addison Nichols, again, sounds like he's going to be back. That is big. Jeremy Gray says, Ty, I think the defensive line is going to have to bail the secondary out with pressure. Oh, boy. You're in a lot of trouble if that's the case, right? The pass rushing has not been good. We know that. I think all of you guys get that. Now, again, against I think this is the best run game you've played all year. Now, we're going to talk about some things. Again, Patreon supporters have had access to this now since Sunday, but we're going to get into some more of this. This was posted at Enemy Insider. Taylen Green so far this year. Let's start with Taylen Green. So far, this guy likes to target the middle of the field. And I'm looking at his passing direction right now. He's not throwing deep very well, but he does have 6 completions downfield of 20-plus yards. We know that outside and to the left, where he's right now 2 for 4, he's 50%, 20 yards and outside left. We know that one of those should have been caught. That was the Broden drop. And then the between the numbers 20-plus yarder, he had one to Broden. He had one that was overthrown and then one that was dropped by Broden. And then outside right, he's 2 of 6. Again, that's 20-plus yards. He's not throwing for a ton of yards on these deep throws. He's 12 of 21 from 10 to 19 yards over the middle with an interception. And then between 1 and 9 yards, he's 12 of 19 for 115 yards, no touchdowns, but a pick. Both of his interceptions have come from the middle of the field. His numbers are all over the place. The more you look at Green's numbers so far this year, they're just all over the place. He's throwing 50% out of play action. Arkansas's running play action right now. And if I'm looking at this correctly, I would love for Petrino to come out and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they're using play action 22% of the time. So 77% of the time they're not using it, and he's 50%. He's 11 of 22 out of play action so far. With a clean pocket, he's throwing about 61%. That's got to be higher. And part of it, too, is he panics and he runs out and he tries to make something happen. Very, very Matt Jones-like. Very Matt Jones-like. And that's just something, when you're 6'6", you can see the whole field. I think Matt had a little bit better pocket presence. I don't know. I can't make up my mind about who was better as a passer right now because of how wild Green's numbers are. Of course, I don't have the in-depth look at Matt Jones's numbers. I only know what I remember watching in person and live on television. But under pressure, he's 45% talking about Green. Like, this stuff has to get cleaned up, guys. He's thrown a pick under pressure, and he's thrown a pick when blitzed. He's just not playing well. Now, that's not to say when the pocket crumbles, he can't make something out of nothing, because he can. He is the definition, Taylen Green is, of a double-edged sword. He's got to clean this stuff up. He's throwing 55%. And I got to give credit. You know, T-Dub is, and I know some folks are disagreeing with him right now in chat. He called this a long time ago. He said he's going to be the quarterback that you got out of Boise State. And right now, based on the in-depth numbers provided by PFF, that is exactly what we're seeing. In fact, he's actually worse in some categories. Now, to be fair, it doesn't help when your damn receivers are dropping everything. Again, I counted 5 drops last week. That doesn't help anybody. And they were key throws. Not all of them, but they were key throws. Beautifully well-placed balls. And that is another issue with Taylen Green, is ball placement, right? He can't have what we expect to happen. He can't have that. He can't be this double-edged sword. You've got to keep your game clean. And he's just not. He's missing wheel routes. He's missing easy throws. He's throwing behind targets. He's overthrowing 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" receivers behind him. What are we doing? Got to get this stuff straightened out, man. His play action numbers should be better, 50%. With a run game with Jaquindon Jackson, like no matter who touches the ball, they're getting 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7 yards a carry. How is your play action not more effective? As soon as there's pressure, he's going to roll out and he's going to try and do something or find somebody open, which sometimes it works and then sometimes it doesn't, and you overthrow. I think his footwork seems to me like he's not planting his feet. He's not, he's not letting his receivers finish their routes. The timing at times is just not there. A lot of work. And it's not to say that he's not capable. Now, he's dynamic. That's what's crazy. He's a dynamic player who could change the game. His third down, Arkansas's third down, I think it's still number 1 in the country, conversion on third down. It's because of Taylen Green. I mean, he's completed, go back to the Oklahoma State game where he's completing some beautiful throws on 3rd and long. He's making plays with his feet on 3rd and long. And yeah, Jaquindon Jackson has played a role. Of course he has. Jaquindon Jackson's been huge. Green is capable of being great, and he's also capable of just turning the ball over, whether it's putting the ball on the field or throwing a pick. He's thrown 2 picks so far. Probably should have 3. Who was that UAPB that had that drop? What was that, the opening drive? When that DB had the drop? I feel like it was the opening drive. Let's look at what's going on with this freshman quarterback, Hank Brown. This dude is looked pretty good. Okay, he's 4 for 4 deep. Got a pretty good arm on him. He was not highly recruited. I mean, he was a 3-star. I think he was a unanimous 3-star, I believe. He's hitting throws over the middle pretty well. Let's see, 9 of about 14 over the middle, racking up yards. He's 3 of 6 from 0 to 9 yards for 19 yards, but then he's 1 for 1 at 10 to 20, and then he's 1 for 1 on 20 plus. 3 for 3 to the outside right on his outside right throws. 3 for 3 for a touchdown and 113 yards. He's hitting those right side throws. He's 4 or 5 right now, and again, he's only got 1 game under his belt. He's thrown for, 70-something percent. His numbers are clean. With a clean pocket, he's throwing about 65. Under pressure, 60%. When blitzed, he's completing 63% of his throws. Now, the thing that stands out, and we're going to go over what they do, and Auburn likes to utilize a little play action. We know all about their run game. They could certainly run the ball very well. Hunter is a hell of a back for Auburn, for sure. He kind of runs it. They don't mind running it right up the gut. And this is going to be a game where Arkansas's depth is going to be really tested. I thought it would be against Oklahoma State because I figured that they would open up the run to get the pass game going. I thought they would really I mean, they're not afraid to run the ball at Oklahoma State, and they did. They couldn't do it. And Arkansas wasn't really forced to go into their depth a whole lot. Now, their pass rush has been non-existent. Auburn has given up, I think, 4 sacks on the year, and I think it all came in one game. They have given up pressures. There has been some issue here. Arkansas, they have got to show something in the pass rush. Hunter has forced 13 missed tackles. 13 so far. 16 for Jaquindon Jackson. 16 according to PFF. Again, going back to Auburn really quick about their quarterback situation. Peyton Thorne has been benched. He was throwing 56%. Yeah, he was sacked 4 times, 4 picks. He did have 5 touchdowns. But Hank Brown came in and killed it. I mean, he's 20 for 30, 331 yards, 67% completion. Hasn't thrown a pick yet. He's playing some really good ball for them. My God, did I forget to post? I forgot to post the rushing totals, didn't I? No, here they are. Jaquindon Jackson on the year, 47 carries, 397 yards, 8.4 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. Taylen Green, 41 carries, 245 yards. Now, PFF says he's actually got more, but again, we'll go over that in a minute. But he's averaging over 6 yards per scramble. Rodney Hill with just 11 carries. There's a question. Are we going to get more Rodney Hill? I don't think we're going to get much Dominion. I think he's got a knee thing going on. Braylon Russell, another big back. But do we see Rodney Hill? You talk about COP, change of pace. That's what Rodney Hill is. Smaller, quicker back. Might need that against Auburn. Listen, I think you're going to want to run the ball down their damn throat. Make them stop the run game. Is it too late to install a little some option? Some of the Matt Jones some option attacks. Is it too late? Let's open this thing up, man. Open up the offense. Let's see the option attack. Trent Dilfer said, and I was going to speak to this. He talked about, what was it, bringing more pressure, going cover 0. It looked to me like that was one of the adjustments. I mean, he kind of laid it out, some of the adjustments that were made against Arkansas in the second half. And he said that I wished we'd watched more Lamar film because that's what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing with Green. And I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. It's almost like he's pulled that playbook and that's that play calling, and he's using that for Green. He laid it out, and I don't think he's wrong. Get a little bit of pressure on Green, and he just kind of doesn't know what to do sometimes. Unbiased Brim says the defense will be better. It was hectic last week. T. Will just had a baby, missed practice on Tuesday. Injuries and limited practice led to a very unorganized defense last week. Yeah, and Pitman talked about that. Pitman brought that up. I hope you're right. I really do. I hope you're right. Jaquindon Jackson, again, 8.4 yards a carry. 47 carries. I mean, that's just absurd. Hunter, 36 carries, 273 yards, 7.6 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Damari Alston, that's the backup. This dude's killing it too. He's got 2 touchdowns, 15 carries for 102 yards. That's almost 7 yards a carry. Peyton Thorne could run the ball. Hank Brown, what I've seen, he doesn't look like someone who's going to take off and run on you, but I think he's probably – seems like every quarterback now is just athletic enough they can operate the RPO, and if they want to tuck it and pick up some yards, they can do it. I don't know if that's Hank Brown or not. Pretty sure he was I might be wrong. I think he was considered a pocket passer out of high school, but we know sometimes that speaks more to the offense that they played in. Sometimes these guys don't run their 40s at these events, these rival the camps. They don't always run their 40s. But Hank Brown, he's got 1 carry for -2 yards. So that probably tells you what you need. But it's one game. I don't know of his athleticism. Armstrong this year, and I didn't know this. Armstrong's only caught one of his 20-plus yard throws. He's been targeted on these deep throws 4 times. He's come down with 1, so 25% of those deep throws. He's primarily where he's getting the most targets, and it looks to me like these little comeback short routes, hitch routes, but he's being targeted a lot on these medium and short routes. 10 to 19 yards, he's targeted 10 times. And again, he's only played 2 games. 8 catches out of that, and then the short routes, he's caught 9 out of 12 targets. So he's 80% on his medium routes, and short routes, he's 75%. Those intermediate routes. Armstrong is the baller. 18 catches, 301 yards, no touchdowns. I would love to see that change. I'm a big Armstrong guy. I like him a lot. Been talking about that dude for a minute. I hope he just continues to eat, son. He's eating in this Bobby Petrino offense, and you love to see it. Now go get you some against Auburn. Make it happen. Stay healthy. Go get you a win. Go find a way. Armstrong has been doing it. And I'm going to be real with you. I think Isaac Teslaw is actually, even though he's only got 4 grabs this year, he's finding ways to get separation. He's finding ways of getting a step ahead of whoever's on him. I want to see Luke Has targeted more. I want Centennia targeted more. But at the same time, we know I think they're going to need to run the ball on Auburn to make this whole thing work. I just get a little nervous when Arkansas gets pass happy. And we know that Bobby is not the kind of coordinator, unlike his brother Paul. God, do you remember the 2012 season? It didn't matter if Arkansas was trailing or whatever. I mean, the guy wanted to throw the ball. He would not adjust to what was happening on the field. I thought Dan Enos was a lot of the same last year. They get stuck on something, they just stick with it. Kendall was known to kind of, he would find a way. I think that's what always made him a pretty solid coordinator. He'd find a way. He'd find a weakness in the defense and exploit it. It helped when you had a quarterback who operated so well in your offense like KJ did. But it gets me nervous when they do that, when Arkansas, it seems like they want to just throw the ball. And Bobby will – listen, you have strengths in the passing game, and it starts with Armstrong. And it could be Luke Has as well, right? It could be Centennia. It could be some of these other receivers. Broden, I think he's got to earn his time back on the field, y'all. I said it when we had Mason Choate on the show. I said I think he's going to ball. I loved what I saw in spring and fall camp. And someone left a comment about Armstrong being the only guy targeted. Why do you think that is? Green doesn't have a lot of faith in some of his other receivers, and it's not just Broden. These guys have got to get it figured out. Got to get it figured out. All right. Let's take a look at this poll. How are you guys doing on the poll? Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Right now, 65% of you say Arkansas will beat Auburn. 65% of you. James Freeman says, Ty, I hate Auburn and that cheater freeze. It's the way to do it, right? I mean, I'm not saying you should, but look, Ole Miss, did they pay any real penalty? Really? Really? Did they pay any real penalty? No. In fact, they got Lane Kiffin, and they're likely a playoff contender. I mean, I know that's been a little bit of time has passed, but still. It's not like it was overnight. I get it, but y'all see where Trent said our receivers are weak. He said they would struggle one-on-one. Yeah, we were talking about him just a little bit ago. I think it's a must-win for Auburn and Arkansas, says Mike and them. This game could act as a springboard or an anchor, and I think you took the words right out of my mouth. Truth Soldier says, nah, Green can't find a wide-open guy. Well, he could find them sometimes. He just misses them. Harrison needs to start over Broden until Broden proves he can hang on to the catch. I wonder if we don't see some of Unk. Do we see Unk? Does he get some targets? Does he get to play? I don't know that I disagree. Broden's got to earn his way back onto the field, man. I mean, that, and I know one of those he fell down on the route or he slipped, but golly, dude. You could sit back and think, like, what if against Oklahoma State he had held on to that ball? And yeah, there was still time left to play and everything, but that just felt like such a momentum shifter a little bit, right? I mean, sure. What's the score against UAB if he'd hung on to some of those throws? All right, let's do this quick breakdown here. We have covered some of this, but this is what I have in Enemy Insider. Let's talk about Hank Brown. He sells touchdowns and touchdown scoring accessories. I'll tell you what. So Hank got his first starting opportunity last week versus New Mexico, who's 0-3. Didn't disappoint, really, throwing 4 tutties, which was the most passing touchdowns for a first-time starter for Auburn in over a decade. That's per on3.com. Completing almost 69% of his throws, and PFF liked his performance as well, giving him a 74.9 passing grade. As you can see above, what sort of stood out for me was one of the things was 60% completion under pressure, which, you could see it when you watch Auburn play. He didn't really look phased. Quote, "It's New Mexico, Ty. Of course not. But considering he's a freshie, he's a redshirt freshie, and it was his first start, you want to see that sort of poise from your young quarterback who likely missed a dope-ass Fortnite tournament to do so." Another thing he did, which was impressive, 4 for 4 on 20-plus yard throws. Another thing to watch, Freeze will utilize play-action passing. Between Hank Brown and Peyton Thorne, Auburn has attempted over 36, it's actually 36-plus, attempted play-action throws through 3 games, not including third-string quarterback Holden Gerner. I don't know, the guy that's never going to play. Not counting his attempts with Thorne, it was 50. I think it was right at 50% of his throws were out of play action. And with what little we've seen from Hank Brown, it's that number sitting around 34% of his throws came out of play action. Just something to keep out or to watch out for. Arkansas secondary has already struggled. We know they've got injuries. Last thing they need is for Auburn's run game to get going, making play action even more effective. Auburn's run game just getting started. Talking about all that play action Auburn likes to use makes it much more dangerous when your average rushing play goes for 6+ yards a carry. Hunter, as we all know, is capable of being one of the best SEC backs, one of the top SEC backs. He's off to a solid start, running for about 7.6 yards a carry. That's pretty good. But didn't have his first 100+ yard game until the 3rd game of their season. The Hogs will need to key in on Hunter and Damari Alston. Whoever's running the ball, you're going to need to key in on. Damari can also be dangerous. Again, that's their backup running back. I've actually liked most of what I've seen from Arkansas's run defense, but this will be their biggest test so far. Let's see how that depth holds up versus a strong physical run game that Auburn has. Auburn defense, 6'6". This is number 15. Sophomore edge rusher Keldrick Falk has been a problem already for Auburn's defensive line. 3 sacks, 10 hurries, 0 missed tackles according to PFF, and 9 stops. Again, that's just through 3 games. Out of high school, he was a highly rated 4-star prospect who 247 gave a 2nd to 3rd round NFL draft projection, which we should always take with a grain of salt. But in this case, it could be legit. He stands out when watching Auburn's defense, as banged up as Arkansas's offensive line is, but you are getting somebody back. Keep in mind, I wrote this before I knew they were getting somebody back. Falk could eat like a fat person eating at a Chinese, like a fat person eating at a Chinese buffet, i.e. your boy right here. Please don't cancel me. Yeah, I did really type that out, by the way. Racking up TFLs and time-disrupting pass rushes and maybe a sack or 2. Linebacker Jalen McLeod, right? I feel like he's been at Auburn for a minute. Is another talented Tiger. PFF has him as the highest-graded defensive player for Auburn at 86.7. See, we could say it. I'm just not going to show it. has fantastic numbers versus the ground game, and his coverage ability hasn't really been tested so far, but is also graded out pretty well. Honestly, Auburn's defense stacks up in several categories near the bottom of the SEC, including their pass defense, which, if looking at the numbers correctly, is currently dead last. And considering they haven't really played anybody of note, waiting to see what Cal does, this is really problematic for an Auburn defense that has already had some questions coming into the 2024 season. Boom, bang, pow, pow, there we go. Yeah, that's why you should join Patreon and check out Enemy Insider. And we got those side-by-side analytics. We've got their total star talent count. Yeah, Auburn's got more talent. Not a whole lot. My prediction. Yeah, this one's tough. I wrote, wake up every day with a different pick, because I did. I woke up Monday thinking, you know what? Based on what I'd seen on Sunday, I think Arkansas is going to get smoked. And then I woke up Tuesday and I'd watched a little bit more, kind of taken some notes and talked to some people, well, a couple of people who've watched Auburn play quite a bit. I felt pretty good about Arkansas's chances. I woke up Wednesday, woke up Thursday. Each day I'm changing my mind. I'm going to stick to this one. I've got Auburn winning this game 31-28 because it's close, and Sam, as of late, has not been able to overcome close games. I think this one could be. Now, you guys know how I feel about Green. If we get more of the good and less of the bad, and the run game continues to do what – listen, they're going to key in on the run game. I'm willing to bet they're going to do everything they can to contain Green. They're going to come after him. I think you're going to see a lot of cover zero. You're going to see them really try to – I think they're going to do everything they can to contain the guy. Outside containment, maybe with a spy hovering over the middle. They're going to do what they can to contain this guy. Auburn actually has the athletes to do it. And that's – they did – the one thing you like, Arkansas has gone on the road and played in a tough environment and played really well. In fact, should have won the game. Auburn, though, it's a weird thing where I would probably take Auburn over Oklahoma State. I do think with the talent, of course it would matter where they played and everything, but with the talent that Auburn has, I would probably take Auburn. But the crazy thing is I still don't think we know a lot about Auburn. They lost to Cal. What do we know about Cal? Not much. It's just 3 games into the year. Auburn really could be – they actually could be bad. Maybe Freeze doesn't know how to build from year 1 to year 2. I don't know. I really, again, this is why I woke up every single day with a different – for like 2 days I said Arkansas is going to win this. One of those days I thought, you know what, actually I could see Arkansas beating the hell out of Auburn. It's just – I'm not going to lie to you. It is Sam Pittman. I'm not going to lie to you. Sam, to me, it's like that – you talk about how Petrino's the X factor for the offense and what Travis Williams had mostly done. I know the defense has still got some red flags. But then I go back to who's in charge of the clock, who's in charge of game management. And lately, Pitman just has not shown me he can do it. And I think this one likely comes – and that's where I had to change my mind. I thought, well, this is going to come down – I could see it coming down to the final possession or 2, and if that's the case, it's going to be Auburn. I just don't like Sam in these close games anymore. I don't know. I'm going to have a hard time picking him until you show me otherwise, right? Now, really what we would like to see is for Arkansas to go down there and just stick their cleats up their rear ends and walk away with this thing clean and win by 14, 17, 20 points. I just don't know that I see that happening. They have not played clean football outside of UAPB, and that's UAPB. Since they've stepped it up versus who they play, they have just found ways to lose games. Well, one game against Oklahoma State and found a way to almost choke the game against UAB. It was competitive. Should never have been competitive. So I still don't know. And I said last week, I said Monday. No, I've said since last week. I don't even know what Arkansas's record. I have no idea what Arkansas's record is going to be. But I just have such a hard time taking Arkansas over Auburn on the road. Now, I will say, I think on a neutral field or at home, I would probably take Arkansas. Because Taylen Green, as many mistakes as the guy makes, he's also worth some big plays. And so, and then you've got Jaquindon Jackson who's just running folks over. But Auburn, they get the edge in terms of actual, just raw talent, right? When you're counting stars, they get the edge there. It's at home. I don't know. I want Sam to prove me wrong. I'd rather it not be a close game, but if it is, I would like to see Sam just prove me wrong. I really would. And, yeah. So, Ty, did he copy John? Was that John Neighbors' prediction? Was it? No, was it really 31-28? Well, I mean, there's only so many points you can score in a game, right? You're right, Feller. They up a few points in the game over. Auburn will smoke the Hogs. I don't act like it, but that's fact. I'm going to take the Hogs to win this must-win game. If we lose this one, I'm fading the Hogs. I'm fading the Hogs through the rest of the season. Drawn Green. It's TY, by the way. It's TY, but whatever. I'm not triggered. It doesn't bother me. It's actually kind of flattering. He's got the Ty Richardson, who spells his name with the E. He's got the luscious blonde locks. Ty, I really like this team, and I tried to talk myself into 7 or 8 wins, but this team has no depth and only rotates 3 on the D line. And you're not wrong. They're not rotating as deep, and the guys that are I mean, it's not like they don't, but how many snaps are those guys that are getting rotation? They're not getting a lot. You're not wrong about that. I talked myself into 7 to 8 wins. But this team, yep. That can't hold up in SEC play, says Jerron Green. I agree. This is must win. This is a must win game for Sam. Because now you've already done 2 of the things you weren't supposed to do, right? You lost to Oklahoma State, which, don't get me wrong, most people would have picked Oklahoma State to win that game. But what I'm saying is you would like to have won that game because it provides you that cushion. And then you need to take care of business against UAB. And yeah, you won, but did you actually take care of business? I don't think so, Tim. Home Improvement. Shout out to Home Improvement. Love that show. They didn't take care of business the way they should have, and I'm right now. I'm right back where I was a year ago. I'm skeptical. I remember early on last year, something was not right about the team. I've got the same feeling. Again, I'm not saying Sam should be fired right now. I'm not saying he should be fired tomorrow. And I'm not saying he should be fired if he loses to Auburn. I'm not saying he should be fired. But this game now, there's even more pressure because of your performance against UAB and the fact that you found a way to lose to Oklahoma State. It is the mistakes and the things that happen. They are, whether you want to admit it or not, they are a reflection of your coach. They just are. I mean, when you go back and when you guys who maybe we all disagree about who the next possible head coach is, what's the first thing you do? You go back and you look at their wins and losses. And we treat that as though it's the reflection of the head coach. Why is it any different when we're talking about Sam? Why? Why is it any different? Well, Rhett Lashley's now losing games, so we don't want him. Okay. And I think I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little surprised that Rhett's not started off hotter. I kind of thought they would maybe beat BYU, and they didn't. They're not off to a great start offensively. I picked them at 8-4, their first year in the big leagues. But why do we do that for everybody else, not for Sam? I don't know. We won't talk about those specific situations at those schools, maybe what they were facing, some of the challenges, some of the recruiting challenges and all that. We don't do that. At least, not for everybody else. We'll make all sorts of excuses for Sam. Well, that's not on Sam. He's not playing on the field. That's really strange because, again, if I name off some coaches and maybe I like them, but their wins and losses aren't so sexy, you're going to point out that they're not winning a lot of games. What does that – how is Sam excluded from that? Tell me. I'd love to know because so far I've not been provided a good answer. This team, the last 2 years, it's a reflection of the head coach. Not all of it's his fault, by the way. I'm not saying he gets 100% of the fault. Remember when Chad year one, and I said here and I said, Chad Morris, this was a reflection of Chad Morris. He deserves some criticism. I took so much shit for that. And I'm not saying, haha, I told you so, but haha, I told you so, right? And it's the same thing with Sam. And I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant. I promise you I'm not. It's just strange to me how we do that for other coaches and not Sam. Nah, they lost to BYU. They lost to so-and-so. They lost to, I don't want him. They went They were supposed to go 10-2 last year. They went 8-4. Nah. But for Sam, we'll make all these excuses in the world as to why he's coming back, why he should come back. It's strange to me because I'm going to tell you again, I think a lot of what's happened, it's not all on him. The drops are not on him. My God, those are mental errors. Missing field goals, I don't put that on the coach. The kicker just couldn't thrive. Now, you can argue, why didn't Fountain go get a better kicker? Okay, well, Fountain was hired by Sam, and I've been a big critic. I've been the biggest critic, I would argue, between myself and maybe a couple other media people. I've been a huge critic of Scott Fountain. I acknowledge what he does for recruiting, but we have to start applying these rules equally, do we not? We got to stop making these excuses. However, the narrative could change, and that's why this game is so big. This could be the start of a chain reaction of changing the narrative because you're winning games. They can beat Auburn. They can. They could beat Texas A&M. They could beat LSU. Tennessee, probably not. Mississippi State, yes, of course. Mississippi State looks terrible, but never say never. I try to practice that. So, again, I know I'm going to get hit with, Ty, you just hate Sam. I don't. My gosh, I want him to work out. I really do. It does kind of have that Mike Anderson feel. I like Mike. Of course, Mike, it was different. You had the time he was here with Nolan. There's some similarities, right? Sam was here with Brett. And he did a great job when he was here with Brett. Fans were pissed when he left. Brett Bielema was pissed when he left, right? For a reason. I want Sam to turn. I want him to change this narrative so badly because I do think, and this was the conversation we had in Patreon the other night, I don't know what's best for Arkansas football. And I hope those people who are in that Patreon chat are listening to me right now. I think probably some of them have moved on, but I hope you're listening. I'm beginning to believe the best thing in Arkansas's interest, or what's best for Arkansas, is for Sam to change the narrative, win games, get Bobby Petrino back, try to get some of your key players back, and go into a sixth year, assuming you win enough games to justify coming back. 5 wins ain't it, fam. And I like the whole, I've seen some people try to make some excuses for why he should come back even if he only wins 5. You just can't do it. He's got to win some games to come back. And in my opinion, I don't even think 6 is enough. Well, it might be. I don't know. I guess it depends on how it all plays out and who you beat and all that. And then we're going to start talking about the bowl game and how that's the must-win game, right, to get things set up correctly for the following year. He's got to win games, and it starts this weekend. Losing this game, listen, I don't know. I don't think all the fans are done. Of course not. You're here watching this. Whether you're here live or you're after the fact watching this, you haven't let go completely. You may not care as much, but you still care. And fans still care. And I think most fans want to see Arkansas succeed, and you do that with Sam succeeding. But he's got to get there. So he's got to prove me wrong on Saturday. I hope that he does. If it's a close game, I feel like Auburn wins that game 9 times out of 10. You've got to avoid this thing being close, I guess. I don't know. All right. Read chat here really quick, and we'll close this thing out. Jeremy Gray says, Ty, if your prediction is right, Sam is cooked 2-4 and interim named during bye week. Maybe we win this Auburn game and turn it around. I feel like if you win this Auburn game, you could build off of it. I really do. You talk about a game that could springboard you. I feel like it's this game. Hey, make sure you guys like and share and subscribe and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to talk about how, I am up against it with YouTube. I am grateful that YouTube allows me to be here. I am up against it, though. Terry Williams says this Arkansas team will win 8 games. Again, I'm not going to speak to what I think they do because, God, you talk about bipolar. That performance against Oklahoma State, even with all of its bumps and bruises, you probably win some games. You win several games, even with those bumps and bruises playing that way, especially if those games are at home. You could beat Auburn the way you played against Oklahoma State. You absolutely can beat A&M. These are not offensive juggernauts. Now, they're moving the ball pretty well on the ground. Tennessee, that's like the only game I'm like, I don't think so. Do I think they're a little bit overblown? Yeah, I'm not buying in that they're a lock top 4 team going into postseason play. I'm not buying into that yet. LSU you could beat. Mississippi State you could beat. Ole Miss, another team. Texas, another team I would rule out. And Louisiana Tech, you should win. At Missouri, who knows? They've kind of gotten off to a little bit of a slow start against some not so great opponents, so we'll have to wait and see. They seem a little anemic at times. Sam is a great guy who is in over his head, but I want him to win and stay because it's best for Arkansas. I only say I don't know. I don't. If you win enough games, you prove to recruits, you prove to your recruits, to your pipeline areas that you can still win, that you are capable of putting a really good product on the field, that you can get guys drafted, that you can get guys recognized, then I think you got to bring him back. You have to. What that looks like is that 7-8 wins probably. I don't know that they get there. I'm not saying, I'm trying to not say, never say never. That should be my motto because what we've seen over the last 10 years. Arkansas about to shock the world, says Terry Williams. I hope you're right, Terry, because I like this staff. I really do, man. I really do. I like this staff. I want it to work out for them. I do have my hang-ups with Sam just in terms of time management, game management. There are some questions there. It seems like his teams just can't get out of their own damn way, and sometimes that's not his fault. He gets a lot of unnecessary hate at times, but he does get rightful criticism, and he should be. That's just what it is, right? I believe more people want Sam to be successful, but we have to come to the realization that maybe that's not going to happen. That's actually really well put. You answered the question, Ty. We like Sam and are attached to him. Yeah. I would love for Sam to be the guy. I really thought it was possible with Bobby back in the fold, but this has not been a reassuring start to the season, says Heartbroken Hog. You do kind of wonder, and this, I hate saying this after you played Oklahoma State, but then it kind of might explain what happened against UAB. Have they only opened up 90% of the playbook on both sides? Yes, that can be why would that be the case, especially with the way UAB played you, right? Are you trying to hold back for conference play? I can remember Petrino being accused of that when he was here the first time. Maybe he is. Maybe they do open up a giant can of whoop ass on Auburn. Maybe we're all wrong, those of us who think that Arkansas loses this game. Go Hog Fan 40 ounces. Get the monkey off your back and beat Auburn, Sam. Go Hogs. There you go. Get it done. Let's take a look at this poll. Hogs win versus Auburn. 66% of you say yes. 34% of you say no. We're going to go ahead and put an end to the poll right there. A lot of votes on that bad boy. There you go. I think we held the tight ends back in the play calling. Now Bobby will unleash them. Yeah, they've not been a big part of the offense. And I can tell you that is surprising, especially based on what we saw during the spring. Oh, my God. Varkey's Gums was catching everything. He was getting targeted left and right. Does he have a catch this year? I don't even know if I don't think he does. Taywan Porter says, I saw in Razorback community on Bleacher Report that has been discussed internally that T. Will be the next head coach if it goes bad. No way. No. And nothing against T. Will. He will be a great head coach one day. But no. I think what would be more likely, Taiwan, and I'm sure that's what they're saying over there. I'm not saying you're saying that. What would be more likely if shit hits the fan is that Odom, they'd probably go after Odom. That would probably be the most likely. I'm starting to agree that Odom is the most likely replacement. Again, if it comes to that, he's just unproven. Golly, I like T. Will, man. I do. Secondary, again, kind of, he turned them around last year, did a good job, got them turned around on defense. I thought they were physical. He was aggressive, did what he needed to do. This year, they're not off to a great start, though. Again, let's hope they're just holding back. I don't know. I appreciate you sharing that, though, Porter. Thank you. Send the house, shake the quarterback up. He is a freshman. I love that approach. You talk about cover zero, baby. We're coming for that ass. All right? Fortnite, you're going to go home to Fortnite, okay? And you're going to be sad. Hank. I shouldn't. Listen, my first name, I'm not real proud of mine either. All right. That's going to do it, right? Appreciate everybody. Patreon supporters, you guys are rock stars. I really mean that. If you want to get in on this Enemy Insider, and we don't just do that. We also have just an active community there. We have the football discussion page. We're going to take a look at the portal. Something changed on. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that later. But we pay attention to the portal, to the targets. We'll have more information. We do put some more information on portal targets when that time comes. We know the portal's going to be opening up here sooner than later. Probably if shit hits the fan for Sam, we're going to have the Who You Gonna Get page for Patreon. I know that was a favorite of some folks. But yeah, we have the Ty videos that's Patreon only, and again, the Enemy Insider. We also have baseball and basketball. We kind of cover it all. So please consider Patreon. It helps your boy out a ton. So yeah, shout out to the sponsors: Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, Affordable Outcomes, quality parts, free estimates, better than best results, man. They get the job done. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Again, that's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. Insurance Max, covering the state corner to corner, offering business, personal, life and health insurance, retirement. They shop the best rates for you. Click the link below and see what Insurance Max can do for you. Maybe they can save you a little bit of money or just give you some really good coverage. Why are people posting, did he get arrested again? Are you serious? Cheyenne O'Grady, former Razorback, arrested again. Breaking news. Damn, he's still 6'3", 241. Listen, I'm just saying, that's still football size, right? He got booked again. That was today. Yesterday. Last night, 11:59 p.m. I'll be damned. Come on, man. Get your head on right. All right. He looks bad, too. No, I didn't say that. I'm reading chat. The other Mike says he looks bad, too. Man, you want what's best for people, former players or not. You want what's best for him. Got to get your shit right. All right. That is it. I do appreciate you guys. Make sure on your way out you like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate the super chats tonight. I really do appreciate that. And I will see you guys on Saturday for the post game. We're going to be doing a wheel spin tomorrow night. I know I've got we've got the other Discord spins. I'm going to do those too here in a minute. I'm going to eat dinner and then I'll come back and do it. So yeah, if you haven't joined Discord, you should. Let me get you guys some links here really quick. Join Discord. I think you'll like it. I think you'll have fun in Discord. Especially if you're Patreon. There's the Discord link right there for you. It'd be nice if I had like a quick button here. Just I have to go in, copy, and then paste it. And then there you go. Terry Williams says no to Gruden. Discord's my favorite pastime, says Megan. All right, everybody. I will see you on Saturday. Let's hope I'm wrong. It's not as laggy this time. Killist 230. Looks like you're going to be the winner. Killist 230. Oh, it's going to be Ramon Shiesty. Ramon Shiesty, congratulations on winning the Dietrich Wise foil card. Badass layout, even without the cloth. I've just never seen a card like this. I thought this is definitely legendary status. John Goodman or John Haas? Oh, John Haas! Jamal Anderson, foil autograph. Oh, it's Mac! Oh, or is it Megan? Oh! All right, Matt Jones, autograph card. 3, 2, 1. I was like, oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to get this to her. Ooh, Austin or Thomas? Austin or Thomas? Austin! Damn, I'm over here complaining about people winning.